Hello everyone and welcome back once again. In today's video we will learn on the most important objective type questions as well as multiple choice questions from the environmental science. Well, most of the topics selected for today's video are based on these frequently asked questions, especially from the syllabus under BA and BSc Environmental Science. To begin with, let us first of all start with a very common question. Question number 1. Who is the father of environmental science? The options given here are Charles Darwin, Ernest Haeckel, Werner Harper, and Dr. Rex and Ollenders. And the right answer for this will be option number D, that is Dr. Rex and Ollenders, who is regarded as the father of environmental science. Well, we should also keep in mind that the father of ecology, or sometimes called as environment in India, will be Ramdeo Mishra. Question number 2. The term ecology was first of all coined by Charles Darwin, Ernest Haeckel, Werner Harper, or Dr. Rex and Ollenders. The right answer for this will be option number B, that is Ernest Haeckel. So the term ecology was first of all coined by Ernest Haeckel, a German environmentalist. Question number 3. What are the components of an ecosystem? Now, the components of ecosystem, we have two components, that is biotic and abiotic components. Now, as we talk about biotic, first of all, the word bio itself literally means life, and therefore anything that is to do with life or living organism will fall under the biotic components. For example, a green plant which has a life within itself, or an animals or a bacteria. All these green plants, animals and bacteria have life within themselves, and therefore all these living organisms will fall under the biotic components of an ecosystem. On the other side, as we talk about an abiotic components of an ecosystem, this will be something that is related to a non-living things such as air, water, or soil. So basically we need to keep in mind here is that the components of an ecosystem are biotic components as well as an abiotic components. Question number 4. Then what are the components of an environment now? The components of environment, we have 4, that is atmosphere, hydrosphere, lithosphere, and biosphere. Let us understand with the help of a diagram here, or a picture image here. Atmosphere, as you can see on the screen here, atmosphere is the part of environment in which we find a gaseous envelope held by the gravitational force around the earth, while hydrosphere is the total amount of water on the planet earth, and lithosphere is any solid rocky crust covering entire planet earth, and lastly we have biosphere, which includes all living organisms that survived with the help of all this atmosphere, hydrosphere, and lithosphere. So basically talking here, the components of environment, we have 4, that is atmosphere, hydrosphere, lithosphere, and biosphere. We should not get confused the difference between the components of ecosystem and the components of environment, because as we talk about the components of ecosystem, we have only biotic and abiotic components, while talking about the components of environment, we have atmosphere, hydrosphere, lithosphere, and biosphere. So we need to keep in mind the difference between the components of ecosystem and the components of environment here. Question number 5. What are the two types of ecosystem again? So as we talk about the types of ecosystem, we have two types of ecosystem, that is the terrestrial ecosystem and the aquatic ecosystem. Now this terrestrial ecosystem, the word terrestrial, biologically it means any living organism that lived and grow on land. Therefore, the terrestrial ecosystem, under the terrestrial ecosystem, we will have a forest ecosystem, we can have a desert ecosystem, or we can have a grassland ecosystem, because as you can see here, either it be a forest ecosystem or desert ecosystem or a grassland ecosystem, all this ecosystem is something to do with a living organism that lived and grows on a land surface, because the terrestrial literally it means any living organism that live and grow on land. So the forest ecosystem or desert ecosystem or grassland ecosystem or any type of ecosystem will fall under the terrestrial ecosystem, as long as that ecosystem is something to do with a land form. On the other hand, as we talk about an aquatic ecosystem, it will be, an ecosystem where all the living organisms that will live and grow on water, because aqua itself means something to do with liquid or water. So some of the ecosystem that falls under the domain of aquatic ecosystem will be, for example, we have river ecosystem, or we have bone ecosystem, or a marine ecosystem. So this is a difference between a terrestrial ecosystem and an aquatic ecosystem. As we talk about the types of ecosystem, there are so many different types of ecosystem. For example, forest ecosystem, river ecosystem, bone ecosystem, or desert ecosystem, and so on. But if we are to generally categorize all these ecosystem, we can generally categorize into two parts, that is terrestrial ecosystem and aquatic ecosystem. So basically the two types of ecosystem will be terrestrial ecosystem and aquatic ecosystem, and all these ecosystem will fall either on aquatic ecosystem or terrestrial ecosystem. Question number 6. The book Origin of Species was written by Charles Darwin, Ernest Haeckel, Werner Arber, and Herbert Spencer. For our own convenience, I'm giving the same optional name here. So the right answer for this will be The Origin of Species. This is a very common book. It was written by option number A, that is Charles Darwin. We should also keep in mind that The Origin of Species was written by Charles Darwin, and he also this Origin of Species was written in the year 1859, and in the next following years, in the year 1871, he also wrote a book called The Descent of Man. And under this book, The Descent of Man, he argued that human beings shared a recent common ancestor with the great African apes. So these are the two books, very important books we need to keep in mind, written by Charles Darwin. One is The Origin of Species in 1859, and The Descent of Man in 1871. Next, question number 7. Father of Green Revolution is M.S. Swaminathan, Norman E. Borlaug, Jane Goodall, or Wangari Maathai. And the right answer for this will be the father of Green Revolution will be option number B, that is Norman E. Borlaug. However, again, we should keep in mind that father of Green Revolution in India will be M.S. Swaminathan. Next, question number 8. The headquarters of the Botanical Survey of India is located at which of the following cities here? Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata, and Goa. This is also a very important question which has been frequently asked in many competitive examinations, and especially with regard to the university questions. So the Botanical Survey of India is located at, the right answer for this will be option number C, that is Kolkata. Next, question number 9. Solar energy is a form of renewable resource or non-renewable resource? Solar means something that is to do with an energy that is being taken or extracted from the sun. So solar energy is a form of, the right answer for this will be option number A, that is renewable resource, because solar energy is a resource which we can use it again and again. So we should also keep in mind that the ultimate source of entire energy used by all living organisms is sunlight. Next, question number 10. The best form of gall is, these are the 4 different types of gall: anthracite, bituminous, subbituminous, and lignite. These are the 4 different types of gall. So among these 4 different types of gall, the best form of gall is, and the right answer for this will be option number A, that is anthracite. Question number 11. Which among the following states has the highest forest cover in India? Options given here are West Bengal, Andhra Pradesh, Arunachal Pradesh, or Madhya Pradesh. And the right answer for this will be the highest forest cover state in India will be option number D, that is Madhya Pradesh. Now, as we talk about the highest forest cover in India, which is Madhya Pradesh, we should also keep in mind the least forest cover, or the smallest or the least forest cover in India, which will be Andhra Pradesh. And the second highest forest cover in India will be Arunachal Pradesh. These are the three important stats which we should keep in mind. The highest forest cover in India will be Madhya Pradesh, the least or the smallest forest cover in India will be Andhra Pradesh, and the second highest forest cover of India will be Arunachal Pradesh, or from the northeastern region of India. Next, question number 12. In a food chain, producers always forms which of the following tropic level? First tropic level, second tropic level, third tropic level, or the fourth tropic level? So in a food chain, the right answer for this will be, in a food chain, the producers always forms option number A, that is the first tropic level. But for those of you who are not aware with the tropic level, let us have a look with an example of the food chain here on the screen. As you can see on the screen, this is an example of a food chain where you can see the producers here. The producers or green plants is being consumed by a primary consumer, and this primary consumer is being again consumed by a secondary consumer, and this secondary consumer is again consumed by a tertiary consumer, and it goes on like that. And after the death of this tertiary consumer, it will be eaten up or consumed by decomposers, bacteria. So this is just an example of a food chain. So as you can see on the screen here, this in a food chain, we can see the food energy is being transferred from one species to another. So the transfer of food energy from one tropic level to another is called a food chain. So what are the tropic level here? The tropic level means the position occupied by each species in a food chain. So for example, we have a green plants here. This is one tropic level number 1, and then the position occupied by one particular species here, this will be a tropic level 2, and the position occupied by another species, this is tropic level number 3, and the position occupied by another species here, this will be a tropic level number 4. So tropic level means the position occupied by each species in a food chain. So the position occupied by each species in a food chain is called a tropic level. So the question here is, in a food chain, as you can see on the screen here, in a food chain, producers always forms, that means we have a producers here, always form the first tropic level. So the second tropic level will be, for example, a snail, because we have an example here with a snail, and the third tropic level will be the sparrow or a bird, and the fourth tropic level will be this eagle. So in a food chain, the producers always form the first tropic level. We should keep in mind that the transfer of food energy from one tropic level to another is called a food chain, like I've explained earlier, and the position occupied by each species in a food chain is called a tropic level. So by now we should keep in mind that the difference, the meaning of food chain as well as the meaning of the tropic level. Now question number 13. How many percentage of food energy is been transferred from one tropic level to another? Now we have seen that in a food chain we see that the species consumed the other the lower rank species, or in hierarchical level. So in every consumption of species by another species, how many percentage of energy has been transferred from one tropic level to the other? So the option given here are 40%, 30%, 20%, or 10%. So for example, we have the primary consumer here that eats or consume on the green grass or a producer. So when this green plant is being eaten or consumed by a primary consumer, how many percentage of this green plant's energy is being transferred from this tropic level number 1 to tropic level number 2? How many percentage of energy, food energy, has been transferred here? And as it's like the same thing to do with the primary consumer to secondary, or the secondary consumer to the tertiary consumer. So what is the percentage of food energy that has been transferred from one tropic level to another? The right answer for this will be option number D, that is only 10% of food energy is being transferred from one tropic level to another. Next, question number 14. In a food chain, again, the maximum population is that of producers, primary consumers, secondary consumers, or the decomposers. So as you can see from this picture image here, again, in a food chain, the maximum population is that of the green grass here, because as you can see from the screen itself, and the picture itself, we have a lot of green grasses or the green vegetables, or the producers that produce their own food. So basically, definitely, in a food chain, the maximum population will be that of the producers. So the right answer for this will be option number A, that is producers. Next, question number 15. Which among the following has the most stable ecosystem? Forest ecosystem, desert ecosystem, bone ecosystem, or ocean ecosystem? So the most stable ecosystem of an environment will be option number D, that is ocean ecosystem. Next, question number 16. How many percent of Earth's surface is covered with water? Option given here are 70%, 71, 72, or 73%. The right answer for this will be yes, option number B, that is 71% of Earth's surface is covered with water. Next, question number 17. What are the three types of biodiversity? So as we talk about biodiversity, we should keep in mind the three most important topic with regard to biodiversity. First of all is the type of biodiversity. So the question here is about the three types of biodiversity. What are the three types of biodiversity? First of all, as we talk about biodiversity, let's talk on the types of biodiversity. We have three types of biodiversity here. The first one being the ecosystem diversity, the second species diversity, and the third genetic diversity of biodiversity. So these are the three types of biodiversity. So like I've mentioned earlier, when we talk about biodiversity, it's very important to know the three most important topics. The first one is the types of biodiversity, and the second one is the values of biodiversity. So what are the two values of biodiversity? We have the first one being the direct values of biodiversity and the indirect values of biodiversity. These direct values again is divided into two parts. That is, one is the consumptive used value and the other one is the productive used value. We will try to elaborate on the topic in the next classes. So for now, the values of biodiversity, we have two, that is direct values and indirect values. And the third most important topic with regard to biodiversity is the conservation of biodiversity. In how many ways can we conserve this biodiversity? So biodiversity can be basically conserved in two different ways, that is the in situ conservation or on-site conservation, and the second one being the ex situ conservation or external conservation. We will be talking on the difference between this in situ conservation and ex situ conservation in the next coming session. So basically, for now, all we need to keep in mind with regard to the topic of biodiversity is the types of biodiversity, that is ecosystem, species diversity, and genetic diversity. Values of biodiversity, we have direct values and indirect values. Conservation of biodiversity can be done in two ways, that is in situ conservation, or it is also called as on-site conservation, or ex situ conservation or external conservation of biodiversity. Moving further, question number 18. Which of the following environmentalists first gave the concept of biodiversity hotspots? Option given here are again the same: Norman Maiers, Gaylord Nelson, Charles Darwin, or Herbert Spencer. So among these following environmentalists, the first person to give the concept of biodiversity hotspots was option number A, that is Norman Maiers. Question number 19. Biodiversity Act in India was passed by the Parliament in the year 2000, 2001, 2002, or 2003. We should keep in mind that the Biodiversity Act in India was passed by the Parliament of India only in the 21st century here, as you can see on the screen. So the actual year for the passing of the Biodiversity Act in India by the Parliament of India will be, the right answer will be option number C, that is 2002. So it was only in the year 2002 that the Parliament of India have passed the Biodiversity Act in India. Question number 20. AIDS is caused by bacteria, blood cancer, virus, or none of the above. Here there is a spelling error here. You can just adjust it by yourself. Now the right answer for this will be AIDS is caused by, obviously, option number C, that is virus. Next, question number 21. The first case of AIDS was discovered in which of the following country? Russia, France, Britain, or USA? So the first case of AIDS was discovered, first of all, in a country or in the United States of America. Next, question number 22. AIDS Day is celebrated on which of the following day? 1st October, 1st November, 1st December, or 1st September? And the right answer for this will be AIDS Day is celebrated every year on the 1st December. Next, question number 23. Red Data Book is the document established by which of the following here? WWF, which means Worldwide Fund for Nature; DRAFIC, which means Trade Records Analysis of Flora and Fauna in Commerce; or CAWF, which means Coalition Against Wildlife Trafficking; or IUCN, which stands for International Union for Conservation of Nature. So this Red Data Book is a book that is enlisted with the endangered species of an ecosystem. So this Red Data Book is been published or established by which of the following here? The right answer for this will be option number D, that is IUCN. This is very important. Every year the Red Data Book has been published by the International Union for Conservation of Nature, that is IUCN. Next, question number 24. Bhopal gas tragedy, which took place in the state of Madhya Pradesh, occurred in which of the following year? 1984, 1985, 1986, or 1987? The right answer for this will be yes, option number A, that is 1984. Next, question number 25. Which among the following is not important greenhouse gas? The question here is not, okay? So the option given here are carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, and oxygen. So which among these following gas is not an important greenhouse gas? And the right answer for this will be option number D, that is oxygen, because the remaining all these three gases are an important greenhouse gas. So oxygen is the only gas which is not an important greenhouse gas for today. Next, question number 26. We have ultraviolet rays or UV radiation causes cancer of mouth, cancer of skin, cancer of blood, or cancer of bone. This is a very common question. Yes, the right answer for this will be option number B, that is ultraviolet radiation causes cancer of skin. Next, question number 27. The Chipko Movement in Uttarakhand under the leadership of Sunderlal Bahugunant started in which of the following year? 1970, 1971, 72, or 1973? This Chipko movement, as we all know, it is a movement under the leadership of Sunderlal Bahugunant that took place in Uttarakhand. It is a movement for the protection of the green plants, especially with the trees and the forests. So this Chipko movement took place in Uttarakhand in the year. The right answer for this will be option number D, that is 1973. Next, question number 28. Who is known as the Birdman of India? So the option given here are Salim Ali, Salim Khan, Azam Khan, or Azam Ali. So the right answer for this will be the Birdman of India will be option number A, that is Salim Ali. Next, question number 29. Energy flow in an ecosystem takes place through biotic structure, abiotic structure, food chain, or food web. We should keep in mind the definition or explanation of the food chain, which we have done in our last slide. So the energy flow, the flow of energy or the transfer of energy in an ecosystem takes place only in the food chain. Question number 30, and maybe the last question for today. World Environment Day is celebrated on which of the following day? 5th May, 5th June, 5th July, or 5th August? And the right answer for this will be the World Environment Day is celebrated every year on option number B, that is 5th June. So these are the most important selected objective as well as multiple choice questions from the environment based on the syllabus of BA and BSc, especially from the Nagaland University. We will wind up our session from here for today. Thank you so much for joining this session.